Hello everyone, it's Tom the taxi driver here, and in this video I'm going to discuss the future of black cabs. Taxis are just the done thing in London. We've been around since the early 17th century, and as a result we're very institutionalised. You've only got to just come to London, look around and just see the sheer amount of taxis that come past. Even as a taxi driver, it still amazes me that no matter what corner of London or different areas you go to, there's just always taxis going past. There's 20,000 of us. So like, Coca-Cola or McDonald's, people know who we are, what we are, the service that we offer. It's just the done thing. Where it gets a little bit difficult is, of course, in other countries, what other people's expectation of it is. Because in London, people who work in business, people that need to get around, locals to London, they all know much about London taxis, as do some people that do travel here. But when I speak with a lot of Americans in the back of the cab, it's really quite surprising how little they know about the actual taxis. They know that we are a taxi service, that we are quite iconic, there's so many of us about, but they don't necessarily know about the knowledge, our specialisms, and also how people kind of get taxis around. Best example is that, like in America, in a lot of rural towns, they generally don't have taxi services, and in fact their bus service is shocking. So that's where their market, where Uber works very, very well. I'm not going to knock it, because in certain places in America, it's a lifeline. If you can't get a bus, if you can't get a taxi, what else are you going to get? You're going to have to get an Uber. When Americans come here, it's kind of that education of it, understanding that we've got this wonderful network of cab drivers, 20,000 strong, that are specifically for public use, and that's kind of the way it's always been. And generally, cycles will say or tell you that the longer something's been around, and if we're still sort of quite active now, we're going to be around to last. I see us as well, like, when you go on holiday and you see that gleaming pile of taxis at the taxi rank, be it in Spain, Portugal, wherever you may be, you go down to the local town, the local like Bay Area, where there's maybe like a strip or there's some shops and restaurants, that kind of thing. You need to get back to your apartment, you need to get back to your hotel, you see that gleaming pile of taxis, and it just triggers the brain. It's almost like an instinct. You just know, right, that's how I get home. And that's the one thing that we've got, one of our USPs. Not only just the knowledge, that's a very, very strong USP, which has kept us safe. And when you look at markets, say New York, where the New York drivers aren't specialised, they buy their licenses, they don't earn them. That allows for a competitor such as Uber to come in. However, with us, we've earned our licence, we know the city inside out. That's a real strong USP, in the same way that you go to a Top Chef, because they've got expertise. They don't have to look at a cookbook. They know exactly what they are doing. So that's what I do love as well, the iconic factor of our vehicle. When you look at the Toyota Prius, it's kind of clever because so many of them drive Toyota Priuses. So it's kind of worked as their own little brand in a way, that iconography. But arguably it's like a clown car, because you're having to squeeze in, you get in passengers in. I find it astounding when you see people like really well dressed up, or you see elderly people or people with cases and stuff, and it's all crammed in there higgledy-piggledy, and you think, just use the right tool for the job. Use the taxi, pay a little bit more for it, and that's it. So I think that's one of the things that really protects us as well. Our purpose-built vehicle, we're 100% disabled accessible. You can get 6 people in here, so a £10 journey with 6 people in here, that's £2 each. That's my maths right there? Yeah. No, it's even less than that. People pay a premium for what's there. We all like a bargain. Who doesn't? But a good example is that when I'm at a bookshop and there's a book that I want, I've got it in my hand. It's right there. It's right there. Look at the back. It says £10. I can either buy that book right there and then, £10, or I can put the book down, go home, find it on eBay, find a used copy, pay a £5 for it, wait for it, and then it turns up. That's the kind of 2 options there. Same goes for the taxi. you can, pull the phone out, download the app, be it a taxi app or an Uber app or whatever, or you can just stick your hand up, hail it, and you're going to get a taxi that's going to be compliant, that's going to be able to do all these great things and get you to where you want to be. Costs a little bit more, but you're getting the right service. Don't get me wrong, I mean, some people do have various apps. They might be on Uber, they might use taxis as well. A lot of, the die-hard taxi users know what they're getting with a taxi. I sometimes compare it, I've already used the chef analogy earlier, whereby professional chef doesn't need a cookbook. They've done that recipe so many times. You watch it, if you watch, say, like Jamie Oliver on TV, you say, I'll have a pinch of that, we'll put a dob of that in. They can look at it and instinctively know how to make a wonderful, amazing recipe. Whereas I could cook, but, if I wanted to make it real nice, amazing gourmet, I've got to pull the cookbook out. I'm not a chef, so I have to follow directions. Same way with an Uber driver. They're not a professional driver. They are in terms of they earn a living, but arguably professional, what's the word? They've got to then use the sat-nav as their instructions. So it's not going to be as efficient, and that's where the sort of the cost comparisons come in. People generally just pay more for quality. It's like when you go to an independent shop versus Amazon. It's going to cost a little bit more, but that it's then benefiting the person that owns that shop. It's their own shop. They've got overheads to pay. They might not have the better sourcing as, say, some of the big conglomerates like Amazon. And the same goes for us cab drivers. We're all independent, self-employed. Every money that we get paid obviously stays within the UK economy. We all contribute to our taxes rather than a very, very large unscrupulous corporation which has been shown to hide large sums of money that should be paid straight into HMRC and some of the fine resources in this country. But that's a different topic altogether. Coming back onto the future of black cabs, Gordon Ramsay doesn't get upset when McDonald's releases a new burger. Gordon Ramsay is still a really busy, thriving businessman with restaurants. People aren't just going to go, let's go eat cheap, let's go eat at McDonald's or whatever. No. That's a different market to that. And that's the same with black cabs. Black cabs are up there. If you are, I'm going to use the word baller, a millionaire or someone like that, and you've come to London to do business, let's just say you're a big icon, you're a celebrity or something, but you haven't got any cars on the ground. It's not your hometown. You've come to visit London. How are you going to get around? Well, you're going to hail a black cab. You're going to get a cab. Maybe it comes up on an app. Maybe someone hails it for you, the concierge. You're not going to cram into a clown car if you are this sort of big baller. You're going to get the sort of most luxury that you can get, that is going to deliver the job. In the same way that you're not going to get a big icon go to McDonald's. Maybe. They might go there once or twice, but they're not going to be doing it all the time. But the way I see it, it's a bit like the airport example, the on holiday example. When I went skiing, snowboarding in Switzerland last year, in Zermatt, they've got these wonderful little electric taxis. Now, these are kind of they're like golf buggies almost. You can get 6 people in the back, but they're purpose built for the job. They've got a roof where you can put all your gear on top, so the driver helps put all your boards and everything up top there. They can pick you up from the bottom of the mountain. They can take you to your hotel. They're not going to take you back to the airport because they are literally like golf buggies. But when you're there, with all your gear on and everything, that's going to be the form of transport that you're going to use. It's appropriate for what the circumstances call for. And that's the same for London. There are ways of getting from one side of London to another. Look at Crossrail that's coming in. That's going to really change things because you can get from Heathrow right to Essex, west to east, relatively easy. You haven't got to change on the underground and stuff like that. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be great. It's going to change the way we get around as we know it. But there's certain sort of spots in London that you're not going to, an underground doesn't quite cut it. The transport network can be incredibly efficient, or depending on where you're getting to, it can be incredibly inefficient. Some people in the back of the cab, they want to be on their phone. They're not necessarily going to get on a bus. You're not going to get any signal down on the London Underground, at least for the foregoing future, until 4G rolls out all the way through all the tunnels or whatever. And even then, do you want to be having a conversation on a really noisy underground carriage when you've got a purpose-built taxi? So there's always markets for it. I've been busy, obviously not right now in the coronavirus season, but I've been busy for the past 2.5 years really. Yeah, there's points when you're slow, there's points when there's a little bit less work, but for the most part, if 20,000 or so black cab drivers can all get work, and that's the bit that astounds me, that people can get work, I think we're going to be here for a very, very long time to come. Look at people like Richard Branson. He doesn't focus on being the cheapest. When he started Virgin Airlines, he knew he wasn't going to be as cheap as, say, EasyJet or Ryanair. So what do? You focus on the benefits, the positives. Don't slate the competition. They do what they do. You focus on what you're good at, what your benefits are, and charge the appropriate price on it. You don't rip people off. The meter in the front there, that's not mine. I rent that from a meter rental company, and the fare is set by Transport for London. So we're regulated. The price doesn't change. We do the best job that we can, give the people what they want. And that, for me, is the future of London taxis in London. Thank you all very much for watching. I shall see you again on a future video. If you could like, comment, or even better, subscribe, that'd be amazing. Thanks a lot. Take care. See you soon.